And there goes the unveiling of Zubeen's statue. Mami, sir, we look forward to your words and thoughts. Professor Pradip Acharya. Sorry, Paleo. Steps.
Good evening, everybody. I will not be wasting your time, but however, the chair of the Creativity Center, Bhupen Hazarika Creativity Center, Professor Chaudhary, the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Pansari. So, with your blessings, then of course, Professor Alakberg, why is there? Familiar faces. With that, I will begin my short speech. I am not capable of either writing or speaking at length. Zubeen Garg was a wanderer. His wanderlust was sans goalposts that kept him free, and he could travel throughout his life untrammeled by goals or destinations. I had first met him a quarter century back when we had presented him to a larger audience along with two other icons of the Assamese cultural scene, Dr. Bhupen Hazarika, Khoghen Mohanto, and then the emerging icon, Zubeen Garg. It is after some 25 years also, the memory is fresh, like a wound that keeps on bleeding intermittently. I was familiar with him, and I was intimate with his creations. So when we had kind of launched him at the Judges' Field, we had actually reserved a venue for a political party session. It was built, they wanted to dismantle it. But we had an organization, Heritage Northeast, headed by Pramod Hoikia of All India Radio fame. We prevailed upon them not to dismantle the pendle, the big robha. And when the next day we started our program with Bhupen Hazarika, I was busy seating the dignitaries we had invited. Then I heard a voice, Pradip da, Ephala Hoksu. So I went up there. Then, what do you call this thing? SMC or whatever, the manager of ceremonies. So he said, say hello to Bhupenda. So naturally, Bhupenda was of course familiar, met him a number of times. I had also translated his songs, which had been released by Krishwan Singh at the Sahitya Sabha, long time back. Old people have memories. I would like young people to have memories, which sounds perhaps anachronistic. So there I met Zubeen for the first time, some 25 years back. And after these two icons, the emerging icon, our young friend, started playing, and the whole scene metamorphosed into a kind of celebration of all his young admirers. They came in throngs, like unwanted thoughts which may disturb your sleep. So he came, and knowing that he was a performer, a public performer, he started with Vande Mataram, entirely in an entirely different way. With Zubeen, anything different is actually distinctive. He didn't want to be different. He avoided the limelight. He wanted to be by himself. And that is why I believe when Mayavini was sung, that Zubeen was one person who was acquainted with the night. And it is to the night that he could give individual personal contours. So, in the wanderlust that I had begun my talk with, which I almost feel is derived from Zubeen, that continues even now. And the familiar, the day-to-day, the quotidian actualities of life were so sensitively monitored by Zubeen Garg that it all gave his songs, his music, and his words a different kind of personality. They stand out, they disturb you, they haunt you. So the person was no different from his words, and his words were no different. His idiom was just the same when he would talk to you or anyone else. He was a performer, but you don't see the performer there because you are already enchanted by the performance. So that was Zubeen Garg, the young icon that in 2000, in the beginning of 2000, January, we had introduced to a really large audience. There was a pandal as big as the judges' field. It was the venue of a conference of a political party. Those days, that party was obviously Congress. So we appropriated that and made our function, and it was overcrowded. So it is not about that performance or about first coming into direct contact with Zubeen that I want to talk about, but it is his journey work. And like the untiring wanderer he was, it is astonishing that he could, with all his achievements, refrain from attaching a kind of destination or goal to his pursuits or to his wanderings. So that wanderlust is what you will find in Zubeen's songs, his life, and his idiom. For instance, this young fellow who made it a habit of frolicking with the storm for ages, you couldn't possibly put a kind of meter there. So, we will leave it at that. After all, it is not something exotic that we are looking for in art that makes its own room in people's minds, but it is something that is familiar but not underlined. Zubeen used to do that. He picked up gems from our quotidian, day-to-day existence and invested them with not only his individual colors, but with a distinctive contour which should continue to disturb us, continue to travel with us as long as we travel ourselves. That is why I call him a wanderer, a wanderlust that knows no destinations or stops. Like I had said in the beginning, I will not waste your time. I have had my say. This is my humble tribute to my young friend, Zubeen Garg, and I of course acknowledge the organizers. For instance, of the chair of the Bhupen Hazarika Trust, Professor Amarendra Chaudhary, Vice Chancellor Dr. Pansari, and all the dignitaries, and the dignified presence of all the young people who had participated absolutely knowingly and silently, and after wishing them, I conclude my speech. Thank you.